Welcome to Film and Page. I'm Dominic, and in this video I'm going to be talking about the 1992 book Death Instinct, written by Bentley Little under his pen name Philip Emmons. And I have a special guest with me here to also talk about the book.
Marie.
So we both read this book at the same time. You finished it a few days before I did.
Mm-hmm.
So at the time of the recording of this video, I finished it last night. I finished the book.
Yeah.
And I have to say, out of all the books I've read of Bentley Little, this is probably his 11th book I've read, because he's my go-to guy when it comes to horror. This was the best one.
Yeah, I agree.
So far, this was the best. For the longest time, it was The Academy was my favorite book that he wrote, and until I read this one. And what kind of got me to read this one, I was looking for another Bentley Little book to read, because this was actually part of a batch of Bentley Little books I bought years ago at a used bookstore. They had a bunch of them there, so I bought them all in one shot, and this was one of them. But what made me read this was actually in the comments section of the Bentley Little video we did like a long time ago, a couple of years ago now. We still get comments on that. Someone said, you have to read Death Instinct from the early 90s. They read it way back in the day, and they said it was really, really good. So I decided, okay, I'm going to read it. So I read it, and it was the best one so far.
Mm-hmm.
But right off the bat, the terminology in this book is not very politically correct at all. I don't even think it was for the time, because this is 1992.
Yeah, no, it's not. It almost shocked you at first when you see some of the terminology. Yeah,
used for some of the people. So I'll give a quick rundown of the plot. So basically, the story is about revolves around this woman, Kathy, who had a very bizarre childhood with her older brother, and is now living with just her and her elderly dad, and their relationship is deteriorating. And across the street is this house where a murder had occurred years ago, and it was kind of like had this bad omen around it, and no one had lived in it for years, until a new family moves in, Katrina and her son Randy, and then murders start to happen. Very horrible, grisly murders start to happen after that. And so this is quite a bit different from his other books, because his other books are more about supernatural ghost stories or demons, but this is like a whodunit, a murder mystery. And there isn't really if there is a supernatural element to this, it's pretty what's the word I'm looking for? Subtle. Mm-hmm. It's not over the top and outlandish like most of his books, and it's quite different from most of his books that I've read. Mm-hmm. So that's basically the gist of the story. There's these horrible murders going on, and this police officer Alan has to solve the murder, have to solve the mystery of who's doing these killings, and because of that, he starts to form a relationship with this girl Kathy, who has this messed up background. So that's the plot in a nutshell. So we're going to talk more about the book, so we're going to get into spoilers. So first of all, I'll ask you, what did you think of the book overall?
I thought it was incredible. And you had started to read it first.
Yeah.
And described it to me as being, at that point, better than The Academy already. So I thought, okay, well, I'm going to give it a go. And I couldn't put it down. I started Friday, and I think I was finished by the Friday. And I had finished it in a matter of days, I think.
Yeah.
I just flew through it.
Yeah, you flew through it really fast, yeah.
And it was just shocking in a lot of ways, as Bentley Little's books are.
Yeah, they are, usually.
But this one was I was waiting for that supernatural twist, because every book he's had that I've read has one. So I was waiting. And I was actually very pleasantly surprised, and I was quite, almost relieved in a way that he mixed it up a bit.
Yeah.
Because that used to be kind of one of my gripes sometimes with his books, was how predictable.
Yeah, a lot of his books. If you read a lot of his books, he kind of has a formula that he sticks to. Yeah. And so his books do become kind of predictable. But this one was quite different.
Yeah, you didn't know what was going on, and like I said, I couldn't put it down. Like, I just kept going. Even when I was tired, I was like, oh, well, just a few more pages.
Yeah, it was really good.
So
it was really good. So now we're going to talk about some of the one part of it, I guess, is the politically incorrect part, because the story involves Randy, who is special needs boy.
Mm-hmm.
But none of the characters refer to him as special needs in the book.
They use
the older term that was used for that, the R words, and they use it a lot. It is used a lot in this book.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a problem with that, just be forewarned. There's a lot of that old school talk in this book when it comes to that.
Yeah.
And so again, and as for me, that's what I liked about it too. It was different from a lot of his other books, and I kind of got hooked on the mystery of who was causing these murders, even though looking back on it now, it was kind of made obvious, but I thought it wasn't going to be that person because it was almost like too on the nose or too obvious.
Yeah.
And he did throw in some red herrings. He tried to knock you off the trail there.
For sure.
With a few different avenues there. So as getting into, we won't spoil who it is, the main.
Okay.
We won't give that away, who the main killer is, but he does throw in some red herrings in there, which is which I had. You guessed the killer probably quicker in the book than I did.
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, it was just the way this person behaved at a couple points, like even taking in the factors without spoiling too much, taking in the factors we knew about this person. Like, to me, certain things they were doing I was like, there's no way it's not this person. Yeah,
there's no way it could be this person. Yeah.
And then there was a part of me that was like, well, they're not gonna go there, are they? He's not gonna go there with this. But in the back of my head, this person kept staying there, because I was like, well, it adds up, but it doesn't. And then as they were describing the murders in this book, and they are brutal.
Yeah, there's some grisly murders.
They are book, yeah. I was like, pardon? As I'm reading it, because it's so shocking. And then when you find out everything, you're just like, it even kind of blows your mind still. Even though in the back of my head, I had this person in my head the whole time.
Yeah.
But
now, I kind of came to the conclusion, I thought it was going to be a group of people or some kind of cult.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it seemed like. It may be because I thought maybe all the red herrings he was maybe they were all somehow involved with these murders, but I was wrong about it. So now the only thing about the book that I kind of didn't like was there was a few subplots that were kind of left hanging.
Yes, I agree.
And a few things that were kind of foggy, and that was, one of the things was the relationship between Kathy and her father. She described him as being a completely different type of father when she was growing up. He was very affectionate, loving, like a really good father, but now he was really cynical and really cruel and almost abusive to her.
Yeah.
As she was looking out to him. But it never really explained how it got to that point.
Yeah, he talks about him being injured, but he doesn't really explain what's wrong with him. Did he get a head injury? They talk about him being on crutches, but nothing really explains the personality thing. Is it a dementia? Yeah. Is it a head injury? Why is there such a personality shift with her father?
Yeah.
Because she describes, she even says at one point, if she was going through this similar situation, her dad would have been the first to comfort her.
Yeah.
And whereas he was just downright cruel so many times.
Yeah, it was really foggy now, because it mentions an accident in her past. Her parents were involved in a car accident, and I was wondering, was that what caused this person? Something to do with that?
Yeah.
Or something to do with her demented brother?
Yeah.
That she had in her past. That basically the flashback to her childhood with her brother is what kicks off the book.
Yeah, which is why it's kind of...
Which is why it's kind of confusing, because her brother was this psychopath.
Messed up.
Yeah, messed up psychopath. And there was strongly implied there was might have been some in sexual abuse from her brother towards her. And her brother just disappeared one day, and it was never really explained why he was so psycho and demented. But I thought now I'll give this part away, spoiler warning, I thought that was going to be the killer. Her brother came back. and the brother's friends.
Well, I did lean there for a minute when they described a particular gruesome scene with him. Like, I was thinking, like, holy.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, and the way they were going into such detail about her trauma with her brother, like, I was expecting that he had done something horrendous to her, like full-on assault, you know. So for me, again, spoiler warning, I was a little disappointed that they didn't really finish that storyline with him. Like, I didn't feel satisfied with that storyline.
Yeah, that didn't go anywhere.
Yeah,
really.
It just sort of...
He kind of left it hanging there that this was going to be a bigger part of the story, but it didn't go anywhere. It was definitely like another red herring, I think. Maybe that's why he threw it in.
For me, it felt like it was just in there for the shock value of the things her brother did.
Yeah, for the shock value of the things. And, but yeah, it didn't go anywhere. And now, the other thing about this story is every character in this book has a really crappy parent.
Yeah, like there's no good parents in this story.
There's no good parents. Even the young boy, Jimmy, that's another main character.
Oh, that poor kid. Yeah. You feel for him. Like
you feel for him. He's getting bullied in school. His dad, like, basically has nothing to do with him. Basically, his dad got full custody from the mother because... Out of spite. Because he was so pissed off at his wife for leaving him for another guy. But then after that, he has, like, literally nothing to do with the son.
Yeah. This Kathy woman, pretty much, because the only adult in his life.
Yeah, the Kathy is the only one that actually seems to care about him at all. But he has a really crappy father. Even the cop mentions that he doesn't have a good relationship with his parents.
Yeah.
Kathy has a horrible relationship with her
father.
And then Katrina, Randy's mom, is terrible.
Yeah. It's just like...
So that's like a theme.
If you were a parent in this book, you were a monster.
yeah, all the parents in this book are horrible people. All the characters' parents. So yeah, so that was interesting, and so that was the two parts, I guess, that the subplot of the brother didn't go anywhere, and how the father got to be such a jerk was kind of foggy.
Yeah, and like kind of what happened. Yeah, like I guess you kind of just said it, but like. She says he ran away, but like, how old was he when her brother ran away?
Didn't
like,
say.
Was he a grown adult? Was he a child? It's like, It doesn't. So for me, that like I kept waiting in the book, like waiting. I'm like, come on, just give me that little tie up that in just a little bit for me.
Yeah.
But no. So.
Now, did you think the book dragged at all?
I didn't think so.
No, I didn't either. It clipped along really fast.
I was never bored. I never felt like I needed a break. Like I said, I couldn't put it down.
Yeah.
And I had to know who was doing it. Like I said, I was pretty sure in the back of my head most of the time, once a couple things happened, I was like, oh. But then I was like, well, no. you know? But yeah, no, I couldn't put it down. And I was like, if that was a movie, it would have been like an edge of your seat kind of movie.
Yeah. And this book has a high body count. A lot of people get killed in this book.
Yeah, a lot.
Like, so this is like a whodunit, almost like a slasher.
Yeah.
It's very much a slasher.
There's some details in this book about the murders, and so if you're squeamish, you probably wouldn't be reading Bentley Little to begin with.
Yeah.
But it especially has some scenes where you go, oh my gosh, that's okay.
This has a really, over any of his books that I've read in the past, this has a really high body count.
Yeah, I don't think I've a lot of murders in this book, and like really grisly ones, like not just people are just dying.
Yeah,
or something.
And now the only people that I really couldn't feel sorry for that get a really grisly end is two school bullies, Sampson and Hallback.
Yeah.
From that were constantly after Jimmy and tormenting them.
And like badly.
Badly. And they really meet a grisly demise, but it's almost like you can't feel sorry for them.
No.
Because they put themselves in that situation.
Yeah, they put themselves in the person's line of sight by being cruel.
Yeah.
And they were so cruel to everyone else. Like they just finished hurt Jimmy really badly, and you're just like,
yeah, they were.
And you just throughout the book, like I just wanted to be like, will someone please help this little boy? Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Because I think Jimmy in the book is only like 7 or 8 years old. Like he's young.
Yeah, I think he's like 9 or something.
Yeah, like and it's like shocking. They're like, no one's gonna do anything. Really? Okay.
And he has like a really crappy childhood because it mentions in the book there are no other kids on this street.
Yeah, it's just him.
It's just him in the neighborhood. And he has like one friend at school, and then he's constantly being chased by these two bullies. So that's kind of like the three main characters in the book: is the cop Alan, the kid Jimmy, and Kathy.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the three central characters that kind of the whole book revolves around. But,
Yeah.
And what did you think of Kathy as like a main character?
I didn't mind her. Like at some points, I kind of thought like she was just kind of. At some points, I kind of thought she was kind of drab and dull. But again, the way they. What's the word I'm looking for? The way they kind of built things up with her brother, I assumed it was all trauma, and I was like, okay, so this chick's been really traumatized. That's why she's so odd.
Messed up, yeah.
But like I said, they dropped that. See, they don't really explain why her personality is the way it is, because they hint at a lot of intimacy issues.
Yeah.
And but she seemed like a very kind, caring person.
Yeah.
Like she fought for Jimmy, and she would, she protected that kid when nobody else was. She would feed him. She would look out for him.
Yeah, between like everything that went on with her brother in the past and with her father, she came off as like, a pretty like broken person.
Yeah.
Like a lot of broken characters in this book.
Yes.
A lot of messed up broken characters in this book. And then Alan, you just came across as your standard
nice
cop
guy. Like, yeah.
It's the only way I could describe him. And then Jimmy, just as like a same thing, very broken character. The father that doesn't care about him. Wants to live with his mom but can't because his dad has full custody of him.
Yeah.
Always getting tormented at school, things like that. So yeah, again, I'd have to say easily this is my favorite Bentley Little novel so far.
Yeah.
I don't know if, because it was a long time. The Academy was up on #1 for a long time.
Yeah.
And I didn't think it was going to get dethroned, but it finally did with this book.
And I think too, like, I'd be curious to know if anybody in the comments who watched our other videos and watched this one, does Bentley Little do other books in this similar style that don't have the supernatural twist? So I'd be curious to know if anybody knows that and puts it in the comments for us.
Yeah, that would be interesting to know.
Because I really enjoyed this book.
Yeah, it was really good. It was a really good book.
Like, probably my favorite book I've read in a very long time.
Yeah. And of course, like most of his books, it's got a lot of twisted sexual stuff in this one.
Oh, yeah. Again, we can't give away too much.
I don't want to give away, but there's a lot of that in there, yeah. So any final thoughts on this?
No, I would just say if you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend it. But go into it knowing if you're sensitive to certain terminologies, like the word we discussed at the beginning of the video.
Yeah.
Go into it knowing it's there. But try to look past it because the story is worth it.
Yeah, the story is very good, yeah.
Because when I first saw the word in the book, I was like, oh, okay. And
even though this came out, I don't think this was even a term you were... I think even then... in 92.
No.
But they went ahead with...
He went with it. But I mean, he's a horror novelist, so he goes for the shock factor.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say read it. 100% read it. Just know, don't be surprised if there's things in there that make you go, oh my gosh, I can't believe you said that.
Yeah.
But, and go into it knowing, like, yeah, you're going to be shocked. Try to be open-minded, but, like, hopefully you enjoy it as much as we do.
Yeah, so if you're a fan of Bentley Little's writing, and you're a fan of horror books, and you like slashers, because this is like a whodunit slasher type book, definitely check this one out. This is definitely a must read.
Definitely, 100%.
Awesome book. So that's everything we got to say in this video. Let me know what you think in the comments section, and I will see you at the next one. I'd like to say thank you to all of my subscribers. I appreciate you all in helping this channel grow. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, don't forget to hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when new videos are uploaded.